Welcome to FCC Supporter Square, the show for fans, by fans, and about fans. Here are your hosts, Matt Warman, Boston Brazel, and Mark Suffin.
If I did it again.
Hey everybody, welcome to FCC Supporter Square, the show for fans, by fans, and about fans. I am your host, Matt Warman. With me is Mark Suffin. If you want to see Boston, he's probably on a ride at Cedar Point.
Smarter man than us.
Tried, but the wind was messing up the mic, and his hair was all over the place, so we didn't see that. So welcome. A couple of things. Last episode was our 75th episode. This was crazy. We are nearing 200 combined between Spotify and YouTube, which is for us a lot. But if we want more, I don't typically do this, and I'm not going to probably do it again. But if you do listen to us more than once, if you could, like and subscribe. If not, that's fine too. We're fine with all of that because we're doing this for fun. We're not trying to make a ton of money, and there's no algorithms that we care about. The only thing we care about is FCC winning the damn star on their chests, and that's kind of what we're here. This week it was a little bit of a lull. I do have one correction. Last week I thought we were playing Orlando on the road. We were playing RSL on the road. Yeah. We are going to be playing Orlando, but they'll be playing here later this year at home, not on the road. We already beat them on the road. So all of those things taken out of the way. How are you doing, Mark?
Hey, doing just fine, sir. Just happy. I have to say, because after the Columbus loss that literally smacked us in the face, the boys responded. 2 straight wins, and especially that wonderful win over Messi FC that was so important. I mean, it's a statement win that we got, and then to just put the icing on the cake out in RSL, a tough, gritty team that they are, but we persevered and got the 3 points. We had to wait a long time for that 3 points, but we got it. So definitely happy at this point.
It was a fabulous, particularly the RSL was a fabulous win. Another type of we had Denke out for a while. Denke's never been injured before, so he didn't even know what that was. Yeah. I still don't think he probably still doesn't know what that is. But given the amount of matches, because you got to remember he played a good 30 matches before he came to us. So having him rest for a few weeks, I think we have enough options on the bench. I will certainly ask Mark if he thinks we have enough options on the bench, but I think we have enough options on the bench. We now officially have our signing. He's supposed to be a winger, so Santos is on again, off again as far as injuries. Denke is out, but we have Dado. I want your thought on this. What was your thought when you were watching the game and you heard Corey Baird going for goal? I thought, to me, my phrase was no, no. If that was Denke, we'd have a goal. But no, he had to hit it right at the keeper. I think he had 2 opportunities. One he hit at the keeper, and the other one he just couldn't get to. I guess I can't remember. But it was like, the worst thing I want to hear is Corey Baird going for goal, but a goal. What do you think of our striker opportunities with Denke being out in the first couple of weeks before we get into the RSL stuff?
Well, getting back to Baird, guy had a couple of chances. He hasn't started, and he's not gotten a ton of time this year. He had his chance, and I just have to say very unlucky. Very unlucky. As played forward myself, I know about this unluckiness that goals seem to come easy, and then all of a sudden, goals they dry up on you, and before you know it, it's a rough spot. So I feel for him. Obviously, you can't armchair quarterback, what his performance was out there, but he was pushing, he was getting into space, and he was making some plays, but ultimately never put it in the net. And I'm thankful that we have an Orishano that is warming up right now, and it's good to see. I think we're solid with Orishano in the match. I think it gives us an absolute opportunity to take 3 points every time.
Once again, it's been a kind of a rotated lineup. RSL is not only just out the West Coast; it's up in the mountains. It's having lived for a period of time in Denver. I can tell you, I was doing, I think, 3 mile runs like 3 days a week, and then I went out to Denver, and I could do about 800 yards before I had to stop, before my lungs exploded. It takes a while to get used to that, and it's not a couple of days. It takes a while, and yes, they're seasoned athletes, but they had to push through some stuff. So it was kind of a rotated due to injury more than anything else. But that's a sign of a good team, a team that can say, "All right, Corey Baird, eat up some minutes, and then we'll bring in some people." Because they need rest. I mean, Kai Kamara is 40, and he played a Wednesday, Saturday. The one thing that was kind of driving me crazy. So let's just go back to Miami, then we'll get to RSL. Then we got other things and fun things to talk about before we have yet another lull in MLS play. Was the Miami game. We won that Miami game, and I want you to talk about the Miami game. But the thing I noticed is
too. So can you relax?
Oh, okay. Yes, I need to be relaxed. That's for me to be relaxed.
Yes.
um, is that after we beat Messi, and Messi did play the whole game, 3-0. It was like Miami's the best team in the league. Yes, their next game they won 6-1. So this was our bounce back. We had a tough game with our rival. So some things didn't bounce our way, some calls didn't go our way, but we didn't play well enough to win either. After scoring 2 goals, we did not protect that lead. I'm not going to rehash that stupid game, but it was like, okay, the whole national media was like, okay, let's see what you do with Miami. I bet you they're going to really struggle with Miami. Let's see how far Cincinnati falls, and then that's a statement. I mean, how many one-game victories have we had with rotated squads and whatnot? And this is the second year in a row that we've beaten Miami by multiple goals. And this is Messi. I don't think. Well, maybe they did beat us in League Cup, but he was outplayed, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's just great," and Miami should be first, even though because they got 3 games and they're going to crush everybody else. And it's like, no. So, what is your thought on how Miami is perceived? It's not a very big deal to me on how they perceive. It does chafe me a little bit. That's why I brought it up. But
yeah. Miami, we have their number. That's all I'm going to say because certainly I think it's still a streak that Messi hasn't scored on us as of yet, and that is hats off to everybody that's had to play against him, whether it's midfield, forwards, or mostly defense. That has really stuck on him good and has frustrated him. He just shook his head most of that match, and it was just another chance for Evander to just show who he is. He is going to be the MVP this year, and he's already proven it. And obviously we have basically half a season to go, but he has done that work, and he is well deserved for that award. At the end of the season.
They're tied currently. I mean, they had 5 braces. Messi had 5 braces in a row until he came to Cincinnati, and then obviously nothing. Evander and Messi are tied with goal contributions. Messi has 1 more goal. Evander has 1 more assist, and he keeps doing it. He just keeps doing it. If he needs to score himself, he will. He'll pass. I think come October we are set up for a really good run. The reason why we bring that up, the Messi, right? Messi is 38. He's old. this whole, I don't even know if I want it to be a topic, but the whole, he's supposed to play in the All-Star game. He was up for captain.
Yeah.
I don't know if he said he wasn't going to play, and so all of those votes just disappeared, and Evander became the captain. Um, you know, if you are a major star, the focal point of the league from the league advertising piece. I'm not saying he's the best player in the league, but obviously he still has some talent. He's
Yeah.
always had talent.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything like that. But if you are the face of the league, and they make sure that he is on every commercial and everywhere and promoting the game. Your All-Star game is where you get to kind of relax a little bit and watch the stars be stars. We finally get to see stars be stars, and our All-Star games trite probably. I haven't watched a baseball or a football. I mean, football All-Star game is not even those players are not allowed to bag out, and the best
Yeah.
stars are in the playoffs because they put their All-Star game just the week before the Super Bowl. So most of the best players are in the Super Bowl. In baseball, they do it in the middle, like we're doing here. So either get rid of it or don't. But if you're going to say no, we want our stars there, and if you are selected for the All Star, show up. And he didn't show up.
Yeah.
Now we all know what that means. Absolutely nothing. But then don't have the rule. Either get rid of the rule or enforce it. That's. I mean, that's the problem with the reffing situation in this league. There's a lot of fixable problems in this league, and quite frankly, all leagues have fixable problems. But this league is like, oh, it's messy, and well, we got to follow the rules. And if Evander said he couldn't make it and he got selected as captain, they would have thrown a 3-game ban on him just because. Like, no, we told you need to be there, but it's messy. We'll let it go. What's your take on that whole stupid situation?
Well, stupid situation. There you go, sir. I think you hit the nail on the head. Messi has commanded MLS since he arrived in and turned $4 tickets in Miami to infinity amount of money tickets. So that's what he brings, and it was kind of strange to see so many Messi jerseys in the stands in Austin, only to have no Messi there. So it just you know and I'm not going to hold my breath here to say, oh, Jordi Alba and Messi, they won't be allowed to play on Saturday. Well, I'm not holding my breath for that one because, what Messi says and what Messi wants, he gets, and that's all there is to it. It's just his ability at his age. I'm surprised he's got, that much ability still. But the good players tend to go the distance. Kai Kamara, 40 years old. Zlatan, he was just about 40 when he retired. So it's interesting, but it's just the nature of what MLS is today. I just remember Beckham, being that big man in MLS. Back when he played at LA Galaxy, and Galaxy were top dogs when he was in. So it's just the nature of what it is. And I just think if we can become a better international, bring in better international players like we have already, but we don't need those, Olivier Giroux and Muellers and those types. We need the ones that are currently in their prime or right around their prime, not when they're need their swan song and their ride out on the ride out into the sunset kind of career. We don't need that. We're going to be in a better place as a league if we bring in those at near prime players from all over the world, and it raises our league up. That's what I'm hoping for.
This is my fan rant. This is just purely me as a fan, not an analyst or any of that other stuff. Me as a fan of the sport and particularly of MLS.
Yeah.
Messi brings a lot of eyeballs to this league. But if you don't upgrade the reffing situation, those people in Europe think of us as a joke. And they already thought of us as a retirement league. And Messi being there kind of enforces that, even though the reality is MLS is a young person's game. There's a lot of 16, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds who are just starting their career, their stellar careers, and they'll probably play, unfortunately, somewhere else in their prime. But we get to see them make the special place, and they bring up the league. This is a young league, not a retirement league.
Yes.
So if you're gonna have somebody like a Messi show up in your league, then sure, you do all your advertising. Sure, you bend the rules. I guess if that's what you want to do, you want to get the most amount of eyeballs to come see your league and say, hey, look, we're not a retirement league. I know you've heard that, and we certainly were. And we had some washed up stars who really shouldn't have been here, but because our league wasn't good enough, they actually shined an extra 2 years. Well, you can't do that anymore. I mean, a few of the later stars in the last 5 to 10 years have come over like, it's my turn. And then they don't do anything. It's because we're younger and faster and in some cases smarter and stronger. So if you're going to bring somebody like Messi and get way more eyeballs from all over the globe to your league, then fix the things that you need to fix. You're not going to make reffing perfect. You Premier Leagues, you hear those fans talk about their refs. I think their refs are better than the CONCACAF refs because you can't. On one play, somebody gets breathed on and it's a yellow card, and the next guy gets depleted and it's not even a foul. You gotta fix these on-field fixable issues. Get better announcers, please. It seems like every time I watch an away match, because I can't listen to Tommy G, is that all I hear about is the home team. Now, I understand home team fans are watching too, but you're supposed to be kind of balanced. I mean, on baseball broadcasts, it used to be you talk about both fans, but we're top of the table. We are in a shield race, and you're making us sound like we're in sixth place fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
Fixable issues. You know what? Have people understand the rivalries between Columbus, that team up north, and us, and Portland and Seattle, and have these through lines and not have it just be Messi. All right, fan rant over, because I could go on probably all day for stupid fan rant. I should probably make it a segment. What grinds my gears. So speaking of retirement league and how I dislike that, rumors are Mueller has brought it down to 2 clubs. One of them is LAFC, and I can't remember. I think it was Philadelphia said, we don't want you.
Right.
And FC Cincinnati said, we're a German city. We would love to have you. Please pick us. If you want to win a cup, come play with us. So we talked about this in the mid-season spectacular. We thought it was dead because we threw a low ball offer out there, but we do own the rights. What is your temperament on having that, and where does he play? Or when does he play, I guess would be the best thing to say, and where do you go from there?
Yeah, Mueller, you have to look at his body of work and what he's meant to the German Bundesliga and the German national team just for years. Has just been a top class, world class player, and I was thrilled to see him at TQL, and that bring in him and his Bayern Munich to Cincinnati was amazing. I just can't still see the fit that he brings here. I think in LAFC that has been a pipeline for Vela, for Bale, for Giroud. It just I don't think it's going to end. I think they're going to continue to grab these, once great players and bring them in for a time. I just don't see it fitting at what FCC's goal is and what their focus is. I just don't think you bring in a player that's going to be that kind of impact player. Bring him in the 75th minute, maybe, and have him alongside of a Santos. If you're replacing that, but that's really it. I don't see him being a 45-minute or even more kind of player here.
I just thought of a need for him. How is our first round playoffs played? It's not an aggregate.
Yeah.
It's we play 90 minutes, then we go
Yep.
straight to PKs. Why
Yep.
did we lose? Because we didn't have good PK takers. I think Evander's going to be a good PK taker.
Yep.
I think Denke has proven. I don't think he's missed once yet this year, and he's had 6 or 7. I don't have the full count on my head. You bring in somebody like him who's been doing PKs under much higher pressure situations. You bring him in as a late minute substitution. I think he's a spot sub for Buka because we run Buka ragged. We do not have anybody on this team as a Buka replacement. But if you want Buka on the field, right? I would love to have Evander and Mueller on the field at the same time. If you put Mueller in Buka's position and have him start, or during playoffs come in at the last 15, 20 minutes, that's what Kubo would be. Really, he's replacing Kubo.
Yes.
In my mind, he's replacing Kubo end of game because we're going to set up if it's a tie game. End of game, he's coming in to take a PK, and we're not going to have the yips. We need to bury these PKs so we can move on to the next level. It's not a long-term thing. Maybe it's a 2-year agreement. It's whatever he wants. And if he doesn't come here and LAFC wants him, the one thing I know is Albright's going to extract is the maximum amount of money out of LAFC for them to actually have him. Maybe Garber has to pay. Garber can't get in the way of it. There are rights. Okay, change the rule next year. But that's where I see that happening. And I agree with you, RSL. To have Barriel finally scoring a couple of goals, I think, as you said in your career as a striker, that it comes and goes, right? Last year, everything he hit went in, and so far earlier this year is like everything he hit the post.
Yeah.
Okay, a couple of those would have been, and then you push a little bit, and then you start getting in your head a little bit. He scored a goal, and the team responded with his celebration.
Yep.
They were like, "We got you. You know you can do this. We're happy, but yeah, you don't need to put that much pressure on you. We're good." And now he scored the game winner. That's huge. That's huge for him. That's huge for us. That's another person. That's another weapon. With Denke out, we still have 2 options on offense. It'll be interesting to see what comes up in the Miami match on how we play. Hopefully it's not raining cats and dogs and buckets down in Miami because it's getting too close to that August. In Central Florida, it rains for an hour and then it goes away. But in Miami, it's like wet season. So we're getting into the wet season there. So we'll see if there's a lot of rain come Saturday. I haven't looked. But I was there when we won a couple of years ago, so it's doable.
Yeah.
Like I've said last week, it is about matchups, and certain teams match up good against us, and we match up well against others. And I think Miami is one of those teams where they're offensive minded, but they're a little slow, and I think we can keep them at bay. So what are your thoughts on the upcoming Miami match?
Certainly a hostile environment down there. We've won down there before, so it's not out of the idea that we can't go down there and get yet another victory over them. I suspect a probable draw in this match, but what FCC has to do is what they've been doing over the last few years against them, and it's just stifling the passing lanes and just keeping them from getting into a rhythm that you see. You see the old Barcelona really show up when they get it going. They can really get it going quick, and that old Barcelona play comes right out. They just have to keep that tamp down, and they will be they either be victory or at least level. So that's what I'm hoping for.
I think the one thing that people forget, and I think it's very evident on this team, is that this team does get up for bigger games. I know there wasn't any serious lapse on the goals that were scored in the Hell is Real match. Certainly was we had some unluckiness. Right, the last goal was us chasing a goal in the last minutes. I'm not going to count that. I mean, it counts in the score, obviously, but it was a 3-2 match, and that third goal was a deflection off of our player. What I'm saying is that there wasn't any serious lapse. It's a matchup issue, but when they played hard, they played hard because Evander wants to show Messi that he's the top dog in the league, and Miazga wants to show Messi that he can shut down Messi. I can say that to my kids and my grandkids. Oh yeah, I played Messi and he didn't score one goal on me every time I played. These are the kinds of things that some players get awed by greatness, and others accept it as a challenge to up their game. And I think that's what Cincinnati does in this situation. I see it as it could. I think we lost what 3-1, 2-1 last year because Messi didn't play, and they were trying to get it, a get back game. Well, we didn't have Messi, so we're going to score.
Yeah.
As long as the ball doesn't bounce weird in the first 10 minutes, I think we have a bit of control over this, at least in the first half. I think they probably will push hard in the second half. I don't want to be a homer every week, so I'm going to have to say it's going to be a 1-1 draw. And weather's going to be a part of this.
With
could
it.
be a part of this.
Yeah, so let me just say this real quick, and I've mentioned it before that July was going to tell us a lot about this team, and because I said it was going to be a gauntlet. You have Columbus, but so far, we took care of Messi. We're 3-1 in this month with another Miami match, and we play Monterrey in the first round, the final day of the month. So we're going to have a very top team in Liga MX. So it's still to be seen. We could be looking at 5-1 in the month, or we might be 4-2, or even 3-3, or it might be a draw in there somewhere. But I'm happy at this point on the 24th that 3-1. I'm definitely happy with that.
Yeah, and I'm not going to count the Leagues Cup because, quite frankly,
it just
we have 9 games left in this season.
Right.
I said at the mid-season spectacular that this is a very strange season, having a CONCACAF and then having an international break, and not playing for the month of June at home with the Club World Cup. And then starting to play again, getting excited about Hell is Real and the top teams coming in, and then now we have the Leagues Cup. I don't know. I mean, Noonan is very competitive, but he would probably be smart to do a heavily rotated squad. And I think from a fan standpoint, most people who are the hardcore fans are not nearly as excited about Leagues Cup. I'd rather they play their 3 games, bow out, and get all of our people healthy and make a playoff push. I think I'm in the majority, but that's it depends on what Noonan wants to do with the squad. But I say you take it as a getting some of the young players in. The new player that we have, Enchanike, get him to play 90 minutes. So I mean, we already are down Denki, so let's get this guy acclimated to what it looks like here in Cincinnati, and getting used to the team. That's what I would do, and I suspect that Noonan will do something like that too. We can't rest 11 people. We just don't have
Yeah.
we don't have 22 players where we could play the back 11. But we could definitely rotate people out, kind of like the RSL game, where we could play 40 to 60 minutes. I would prefer that they play 45 and then swap them out. Play Evander 45. If you can get Evander to play 45, because you got to remember, we got Saturday, then they play Thursday, then they play Sunday.
Yep.
That's a lot of soccer, and two of those games, I don't think in most fans' minds. I'm not going to speak for you fans, but in these fans' minds, the League Cup is not a thing of pride. It's not a thing. It is a thing to win. If we had won the U.S. Open or CONCACAF champions, and we were trying to go for the treble or the quad, then certainly we would try to figure out a way to do that. If you sign Thomas Mueller, he could play for 90 minutes. There you go. See, I found two uses for Thomas Mueller, even though I said we are not a retirement league.
Yeah.
I am such a hypocrite. Don't like me. That's okay. Yeah, the All-Star game, like I said, was not. I didn't watch it. I'd heard that Evander did well. Helped win some skills challenge. I think it was Evander that somebody made a really pretty pass. I think that was. I'm not sure if that was him or, but I heard he was low key really good.
Yeah, Evander just did Evander things, and skills challenge was his forte. Because you see it on the field, so it was going to translate to a competition like that with no problem. Yeah, he just looked really good. I just think how he works with other players is his telltale. That's his MVP showing completely. And then you go to the match, and it's a 3-1 victory, but clearly, first half it was. I think the only player that really went 100% was Bouanga. I think everybody else was at about 75% tops. You just didn't see a lot. I mean, you saw some fouls, but it was just not. It's not the same level, and that's okay. It's entertainment. This is a expose. It's a bringing together and just having a friendly. It's a friendly, for crying out loud.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you didn't expect a lot. And the 3-1, well, great. We won. Last couple of years, we didn't. We got a PK victory and then we lost. But the one thing I want to bring to FCC's knowledge here, the last 3 MLS All-Star captains have come from your FC Cincinnati team. And, last 2 years, Acosta and Evander this year. What a treat. What a treat that the pinnacle of MLS All-Star came from FC Cincinnati. I mean, that's take your hats off. That's great. That is, a feather in the hat. And I'm just happy for us, and I'm happy for that being done 3 years in a row.
And that's, I think, the one thing that we just need to do. We just need to go. I seriously think we have a really good shot of winning it all. I think it's going to be an Eastern Conference team that wins the cup this year. But even if we made it to the conference finals and lost to Philadelphia, if we had to play Philadelphia in Philadelphia, or I don't want to lose. It's too painful, particularly that close to the cup. But that to a national audience, and this is what I'm speaking in the lens of a national audience, that means FC Cincinnati has arrived. It's like, okay, you have an all-star, but you haven't won anything, and you haven't gotten out of the first round last year.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what was paying attention is that the format is a stupid format for playoffs, but the goal is to have better PK takers. If you score seven PKs in a row, you're probably going to win. It's rarely do you see it go 7-7.
Yeah.
So make sure you get that past that first round, and we were first for the shield run and lost in the semis again. So that's just the nature of sports, but that's where I'm looking at. So we've got one more game before we have Leagues Cup, and we'll see what happens there. But I think it's going to be a couple of weeks, and then the final push. I mean, summer has happened. I mean, I know it's with the humidity, it's 176 degrees outside, or at least that's what it feels like. I think I sweat through 3 shirts a day now. It's just par for the course, I guess. So, before we leave, I see a wonderful picture. Describe that picture for our audio audience. What is behind you?
Well, this is a collage pic, and I guess I brought it up due to the 10th anniversary of the club. I went to many of the matches starting way back in 2016 with my youngest son, Tanner, who is currently studying, he's getting his psychology doctorate out in Honolulu, Hawaii. So it was just a nice little collage I made for him, just detailing all the years up till, I think it was till 2022 that he went to school. And it's just, I just thought I'd bring it out here today because, everything is going, great gonzo for the 10-year celebration. And I don't know if you're a race, road race person, but the FCC race, otherwise known as the FCC 3, has a quite intriguing course that starts at FCC's first home at Nippert Stadium and travels down the hill to TQL Stadium. What a wonderful August 9th, and register now because this is going to be a nice little 10th anniversary hoopla and a race. Well, at least you're going downhill and not uphill. So let's just put it that way. That's the best thing going right there.
Hooray for gravity.
Yes.
I use gravity to my advantage at my age. Yes. Okay. Well, that's just about all the time we have here at FCC Supporters Square. Hoping your week was good and not so damn hot. Yeah. And we will see you next time here on FCC Supporters Square.
Thank you for joining FCC Supporters Square. The hosts are Matt Warman, Boston Brazel, and Mark Suffolk. The intro song is Quick on the Holster by the Stone Bunnies, and the ending song is Awesome Sauce, also by the Stone Bunnies. Thank you for listening. Please join us again.